We're going to be talking about the questions and answers, and so we'll do that for the first part. And then I'm going to talk about how you can get a singer to fall in love with you. Something that a guitar player is always longing to do. How to get the singer to love you. We'll actually be talking about how to accompany a vocalist and do it well. If you do it well, maybe the singer will fall in love with you. You never know how that works out. I'm going to start off with a song called I'll See You in My Dreams. This is a song that was introduced to me actually by Merle Travis's son, Tom Bresh, who we've had on the show many times before, and this was the first time that I had met Tom Bresh. We had actually been put together to be on the WSM radio show with their legendary Grand Ole Opry host, Bill Cody. I actually put the link to that interview, that show, down in the YouTube description if you're interested in seeing that actual performance. But anyway, for that performance, we got Tom Bresh, and me and him were both on the legendary WSM radio morning show with Bill Cody, and we played this song. So this is a little bit of Isham Jones's I'll See You in My Dreams. Question from Lester Peters. He wrote in and he was asking about the Dick Dale tremolo picking technique. All right, well, who was Dick Dale? Dick Dale lived from 1937 to 2019, and he was the king of surf guitar. So he was he influenced the Beach Boys and all of these surfer sounds that came on. He was kind of the first one that did that. And so he had a lot of wonderful little tremolo techniques that influenced a lot of people, not only the Beach Boys, but Eddie Van Halen, Pete Townsend, all these guys were influenced by this guitarist, Dick Dale. And if you heard his stuff, oh, it sounded like this. That sort of a sound. Lester was asking about this Dick Dale tremolo. Here's what I know. I did find at one interview with him, and he talked about this technique. First of all, he was kind of an odd a musician's musician. He played just about every instrument, but he was also left-handed, so he played a right-handed guitar flipped upside down, so the bass strings would be toward the floor and the treble strings would be toward the ceiling, so it was all mixed up. But basically, he liked that sound. And he talks about how he developed that was he would just, he was originally a drummer and he wanted to get that percussive sound on the instrument. So he said he just started doing on the downbeat. So I'm doing 16th notes. One E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a... So he's doing 16th notes with this picking, just as pure down and up picking. And it kind of gets this flutter. So it's not without time. It is in time, some aspects of it. So how would I practice that? Well, I wish I could say I'm an expert at it. I'm not. I just kind of fiddled around with it. So I got a good grip on my pick. I've got not a particularly hard pick. I've got a 73 nylon 0.73 Dunlop, and I'm kind of muting just a hair down here at my bridge. I'm just doing a really small motion going down, up, down, up, down, up. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you just get that going. Work with the metronome. Get that up as fast as you can. 2, 3, 4. Sorry. And he would do all that sort of stuff. And he'd do little things where he's kind of half touching the strings, but working his way down. And work it down. And he was the master of the king of surf guitar and that tremolo picking. There is a video of him describing this technique, a little interview of him that I found. I'll maybe try and put it in the links there, of him describing that. So how I would practice that, I would be working with the metronome, make a really small motion, work on muting, getting just a little bit of a palm mute right there. Oh, I put your guitar kind of on the treble or maybe the mid pickup, not the jazz pickup in the front, put it on the middle maybe. Gets a little bit of deeper sound. And the notes I was playing there was E, G sharp, A, B, and then a C natural, E flat, C natural, B. And that was one of his kind of famous songs. He was kind of he was of an Arabian descent. I read on his Wikipedia page. And so that kind of exotic Arabian-sounding scale fit that nicely. So anyway, that's a little bit about the great Dick Dale. Good question. A question by Arthur. He had emailed in. He talked about jazz guitar, rhythm guitar, and comping. Okay, so if I'm comping in a jazz setting, I'm going to put it on my front jazz pickup here. I'm going to roll my tone back just a little bit, because I want to get as round of a sound as I can. So I'm going to maybe even not use that pick. I might use a little jazz pick that's a little bit smaller. All right, so if I'm comping in a jazz style, basically I've got two choices that I typically use. I can do the old Freddie Green chunking. Freddie Green, the legendary guitarist for the Count Basie Band for so many years, and he kind of just developed this percussive style of rhythm comping, jazz rhythm comping, which basically is just kind of a lazy strum on mainly the lower four strings. It's meant to kind of go along with the bass and the drums. So if you can imagine a little rhythm section going, and you're just kind of become this harmonic part of that rhythmic sound. Emphasizing 2 and 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so you have that type of comping, the Freddie Green approach to accompanying. Then you also have kind of more of a big band horn section type of accompanying. So if you have the song that's going on, a one, so let's say it's a 1 6 2 5 in C, a 1, A minor, 2 minor. So if I'm comping with that, and then you got to imagine there's a bass player and a drummer going, a 1 2 3 4 1, ba-bum. It's almost kind of just little short little horn stabs like a horn section would be. A 1, a 2, a 1 2 3 4 1. So I'm just kind of doing kind of horn stabs. So that's how I would approach the jazz comping as far as rhythms go. As far as if I'm doing kind of the Freddie Green approach, you can get a lot of movement by just moving that chord back and forth. All I'm doing is going, whatever form I'm on, I'm just moving it back and forth just to kind of give the illusion of rhythm. So that's kind of the very basics of jazz comping. If you're interested in learning more about that, I did a fretboard workout series on jazz chords, and we had a live group that was with us. My good friend Zach was playing drums, and Jeff was on bass, and so it'll give you some good tips on how to incorporate playing with a group for that. So great question on that. Whatever it is, UF4 is asking, hey Steve, so as soon as you hit the fretboard, say your index finger to solo and improvise, what then do you immediately visualize? Triads, pentatonic, diatonic, box shapes, sixths, thirds, etc. Okay, basically, think of those different things that you just mentioned. Pentatonic scales, major scales, diatonic shapes, sixths, thirds, tenths, octaves. Those are all tools that I can use. So I'm like a craftsman. I can use any one of those tools. So it's not the tool itself, it's what I can do with the tool that is what I'm trying to create. So I'm trying to create a soloing line that makes musical sense. So at times I might be using a third approach, I might be using pentatonic scales, I may be using octaves or different things, but the main thing is I'm trying to say a musical thought. That's where folks get hung up with on soloing. They think it's all about what I'm doing, and it's not about the particular scale I'm using or the particular bend I'm using or something like that. It's about I'm trying to say a musical thought. As you're trying to learn how to solo, work more on trying to say a musical thought rather than trying to do a particular style. We're going to put on a track here for just a second. I think this will be a good illustration of it. So we've got a track, and it's basically an A minor. And so we're going to put that track on. Go ahead and let it run, baby. And let's say I'm supposed to solo over this. Okay. So I don't just want to start going, I don't want to just start doing a scale. I want to take the notes in that scale and try and say something. So I said a musical idea right there, a musical sentence, if you want to think of it that way. I'm not being super flashy. Maybe I could do thirds. But the main idea is I'm trying to say something musically. Okay, you can turn the track off. I'm trying to say something musically. So soloing is a big topic there. In the grand scheme of things, you want to know what I'm thinking about? I'm thinking about if it's a pop or a rock sort of situation, I want to start low and end high. So I want to start. And eventually I'm up here. And I'm doing some screaming note high up there. So I'm just kind of thinking low and high, and I want to get myself there, and I have a certain amount of time to do that. If it's a lot of time, then I have a lot of time to explore some ideas. I want to create a little thought. I did a little rhythm there, da-ba-da-da. Maybe I could do that on some of the notes. So I kind of set it up, I set the pattern, and then I give a little call and response thing to it. Different ways of doing some soloing ideas for just a few seconds. So learn your box shapes, learn your pentatonic scales, learn your thirds, learn all that sort of, learn how to use these tools. Then take your ear and try to create a musical thought. That's the tricky part, is creating the musical thought. Once you can start creating musical thoughts, no matter how simple they are, then you can start to see, oh, I can use this tool and I can create this sort of thing. That's what you're looking for. Arthur is asking online, it says, talk about creating a jazz chord melody. All right, well, that's a huge topic, but here's basically what I'm thinking. All right, let's take the jazz song Satin Doll. The chords are D minor and a G7. D minor, G7. Then an E minor, A7. A minor, E minor, A7. So those are the chords, and I've got this little melody on top. So how can I combine them both? Well, for me, it's not rocket science. I wish I could say I'm better at it, but I'm going to do a D minor, kind of a D minor 7th, or maybe a D minor 11th. Just take the third finger off, and then it goes to a G7. So I'm trying to keep the melody as the top part. G7. And then I do it at E minor. So I've got the chord, and then I try and have the melody notes as the highest part note. So I need to know a lot of chord shapes, or at least how to move around in a chord shape. Here's a D minor. What notes are in this? Well, it's a D, an A, a C, an F, and another A. But it's a good exercise to do is to just find other notes around there. There's a C, there's a B, there's an A, G, F, E, D, C, maybe B if I could reach it, but then I start kind of running out of chord. So I can get all of this movement with just one shape. All of that is within this one shape here. So I would take a simple song like Satin Doll, or maybe All the Things You Are, something like that. And if you can't figure out a chord that goes with it or has that melody note in it, and you can't reach it or anything, then I would go to my other bag of tricks, which is just play the single note, or maybe thirds, or sixths, something to get that in there and create some musical interest. The question is, how do you remember a set of songs, especially when using fingerstyle? You make it look so easy. Well, how do I remember them? I'm old. I don't want to have to remember them. That's why I have my handy-dandy iPad. On my iPad, I have a program called Fourscore, and in it, I have my music. So I can look at that. Here's my I'll see you in my dreams. There's It Had to Be You. There's All You Need Is Love. So I got a little cheat sheet to help me remember what these are. I even have a foot pedal that I can play, or I can use to turn the pages when I'm busy playing. So first of all, I don't want to try and have to, remember it all. Now, having said that, if you play the songs enough and often enough, you kind of just start to not have to refer to the music as much as you need to. How did I know Satin Doll? How did I know that? Because I have played that for hundreds of jobs. Since I was a teenager, I have played that song, and I have done it in smoky jazz clubs to people that weren't listening for hours on end. So I have learned that song backwards and forwards. You can pretty much wake me up in the middle of the night, and I could play Satin Doll for you. It's just, once you do these songs and do them a lot and work them through and work all the ins and outs of them, sorry. Now, I learned that song this week, but I've just worked it so hard that I pretty much have it mostly memorized. So a lot of it is just familiarity with the songs, but I don't want to have to do that all the time. So when I'm playing at church or doing a gig or something like that, I have the music on my iPad here. I used to be a paper music guy, swore by paper music. I was never going to go to the iPad, but now it's just so much easier. I can put hundreds of songs in here, change them every which way, and just dial them up on my iPad. The program I use is a program called Fourscore. And you can put in music for that. You can even put in PDFs. You can even put in pictures. And it will just, take a picture of it and it will put it in there. And you can, tag it any kind of which way. And it's a very helpful program. John Sikora is saying, Steve, can you explain when you should mix the major and minor scales when soloing? Well, the easy answer to that is when it's a major chord, I use major. When it's a minor chord, I use the minor. Now, where it starts overlapping a little bit is in blues. So if I have like maybe an A blues, okay, so you kind of use this blues scale, which is a mixture of the major and minor. So here's the major scale. Okay. But you have to use the flatted seventh when I'm in a blues situation. So I can use the minor third or the major third. When it gets to the 4 chord, then I switch to like an A minor pentatonic. When it goes back to the 1, then I can use kind of my major pentatonic with either the minor third or the major third or the regular fifth or the flat fifth. So it's that dance between the major third and the minor third. Now, you're always going to be using the flatted seventh when I'm in a blues situation, but you can dance between the major third and the minor third. Major third there, minor third, back to the majors. Minor, going to use the minor third. Back to the 1, major third. Minor third. So you're kind of dancing always between this major third, minor third. So that's a little bit of when to use major scales and minor scales over these different chords. If it's a major chord, you use a major scale according to the key. So remember, like if I'm in the key of C major, well, it's a C major scale, but it's also, if it goes, it could go to an F chord in the key of C, and that is also major, but I would still be playing a C major chord, just emphasizing the F notes, F, A, C, E, over the 4 chord in the key of C. That's a whole, again, y'all are touching on huge subjects there. I feel guilty for just kind of glossing over them so, with such a broad brush. Just for Fun is asking, why do major 7th chords sound so sweet? Where is it appropriate to use the major 7th chord? Major chords sound sweet because of that major 7th. That major 7th right there. And I could do it in various octaves. It's that major 7th, the B natural in a C major 7th chord. That's what gives it that sweetness. When do I use them? I use them a ton in jazz for the over the 1 chord, over the 4 chord. Oh, you use them in love songs. You use them in disco songs. They used them a lot. It's a very common chord. You don't use them in bluegrass. You don't use them in country generally. But in jazz or in Disney songs, things like that, ballads, you'll use a lot of major 7ths. There you go. I had an important question that was asked online by Kat. She's talking about an elaborate hand injury that she has now, with tendons and all kinds of stuff, and she hasn't been able to play. And what would I recommend? Okay, well, first of all, I'm a guitar player. I'm not a doctor. So keep that in mind. I have no magic pill for this. If it's a medical issue, consult your hand, doctor way before you consult me. But here are some larger thoughts I have on that. If you have some sort of limitation, whether it be a hand injury, you're older and your hands are shaking a bit, and you have a little bit of a tremor perhaps in your hand, or you're losing hand strength. I have no magic medical pill for this. Here are some things that I know. If you can play, the more you can play, the better it tends to be for your hand for most things. Arthritis, playing is some of the best things you can do for your hand. Now, you may not be able to rip up the fretboard like you used to, but you are able to. The physical motion of still playing is great for your hand, especially for arthritis, things like that. Now, you've got tendon damage and things like that, so playing in some ways, may not be the best thing for you. But here's some things. If you are struggling with strength issues, stuff like that, here's some guitar player things. You could play maybe a classical guitar whose strings are lighter to push down. A nylon string guitar. You can get maybe lighter strings for your guitar. Make sure it's set up properly so that the action's as low as it can be, so it's as easy to play as possible. Nylon string guitar has significantly less pressure against your fingers than a steel string is. So I would suggest maybe doing that. If you physically just can't play, maybe try ukulele, maybe. It's just not as involved as a 6 strings on a guitar. If I can't do that, what about a piano? Try piano. Here's the larger thought. Don't let any limitation stop you from making music, from having music in your life. I can't say this strong enough. I see a lot of people, I've got a hand injury, then they've always wanted to play, and they never play again. Don't let anything stop you. You kidding? So a lot of these, Django Reinhardt was missing a finger, Phil Keaggy is missing a finger, Louis Armstrong had a condition that his cheeks would blow out. It's you still work with what you have. So many of these famous musicians had some sort of a limitation. Find a way to make music. Don't let your limitation, I guess I just can't do it. Well, great, play piano. That's a little bit easier. Try something else. Keep music in your life. Think about music. Go to concerts. Keep that music still stirring in your heart. Even if for a season you can't play. There's been times where I've had hand issues and I couldn't play for a season of time. It was miserable. But I thought about music and I got back and tried to play as little as I could, and then eventually got stronger and stronger. As far as hand strength issues, the more you play, the more you'll be able to get the strength that you need for doing bar chords and things like that. You know, when we were interviewing Tommy Emmanuel, he said, I don't do weights, I don't do any of that silly stuff. I play the guitar. And the longer I live, the more I kind of think that's probably right. Worry less about the newest little fancy little finger thing that some guy's trying to sell you online. Don't buy for all that nonsense. And just play your guitar and figure out a way how to do it. You may not be able to do it like other people can do it. You may not be able to do it as efficiently as you used to do it. Don't let that stop you. Les Paul played until the very end of his life was he playing. And it wasn't playing like he was, in the heyday, but he was still playing. That's what I want. That's what I want to be. I want to be always making music. There's something that renews your soul about making music. I want to play, another song by Isham Jones, since he had his birthday. And I thought I would do a little bit of It Had to Be You. We've got our Hymns Guitar Gathering Academy. We do this every year. We do a special 4-week academy where I teach you hymns, and then we go through up until the weeks right before Easter. This session, we're going to be starting on March 5th, which used to be a long time away. Now it's only four weeks away. The songs that we're going to be doing this time are Turn Your Eyes Upon Jesus, Blessed Assurance, great hymns, Come Thou Fount of Every Blessing, and I Surrender All. If you're interested in joining us for a Hymns Guitar Academy, I send you the music, you get beginner arrangements, you learn how to play the melody, the chords, chord substitutions. I give you beginner arrangements, advanced arranged solo guitar arrangements. It is a lot of fun. A lot of folks come, and we are together in it for 4 weeks, learning a new song each week. It's a wonderful challenge, no matter what skill level you're at. And then at the end of the week, after you've been working on the song, we have a live Zoom session where you can come and we're all in there together, and you ask whatever questions. I try and help you out as much as we can. There's backing tracks, all kinds of stuff. You get a PDF with all the examples written out in music notation and tab. If you're interested in joining us, the link is in the YouTube description down below for that special thing. I also wanted to mention we've got our fall fingerstyle retreat. Fall, my goodness, it's forever from now. It's like October 22nd through the 25th this year, but already a third of the slots for our fall fingerstyle retreat, which usually sells out most every year, a third of those slots are already sold. So if you're interested, you can go to fingerstyleretreat.com and reserve your place at our fall fingerstyle guitar retreat. We're having Antoine Dufour, we're having Brooks Robertson. It's going to be amazing. And then I'm going to have a night with me and some special guests that I can't tell you about just yet, but they're going to be special. And so that's coming up for our fingerstyle retreat. If you're interested in that, check that out. Let's talk about how you can get a singer to like you, how you can get a singer to fall in love with you. I was at an event this past week, and I was reminded again of this. When accompanying a singer, there's certain things that you need to do as an accompanist. And as a guitarist, you're going to be in that situation, in that role, a lot. Unless you're Tommy Emmanuel and you're filling out solo concerts, chances are you're going to be accompanying, whether in a band situation or whether just another singer or other instruments, you're going to be in that role a lot. So there's some things that you can do to be good in that role, and we've talked about this before. It's been a couple of years since we've talked about it, and I was reminded of it again just a few days ago. I was at an event, and it was a solo guitarist and a vocalist. They were going to try and sing a song. The song did not start in a typical easy fashion. It kind of started on an off chord with an off note by the vocals. It's just kind of one of those songs. Not every song starts easily. This one was one that did not start easily. The singer couldn't find her pitch. The guitar player wasn't really particularly, he was just kind of thinking of his part and not really thinking of helping out the singer. So they tried to start it a couple of times, and eventually it just completely crashed and burned, stopped, put down the mic. Then they got to talk for a little bit and figure it out, and then they try and do the song again. Okay, that reminded me just of the importance of the role of a guitar player in accompanying and what we can do to help our singers. Our goal is to make them feel comfortable. Just the next day or a few days later, I was in the same position where I'm a solo guitarist and I'm working with one singer. And we were doing a particular song that has 4 chords to it. The chords were, it's in the key of E, but it starts on the 5 chord. So there's the first problem. It doesn't start where you think it would start. So it starts on a B, and it goes to an F sharp minor, and an A, E. So I'll just play that again. Now, the only intro that's written on the music is just a B to a B sus. Now, which is very deceptive for the singer because they might think we're in the key of B and that I'm playing the 1 chord, and then suddenly she doesn't know what note to pick. So here are some really important, rock solid things that are going to make a singer love what you're doing. first thing is in my intro, I want to establish the key. I want to establish the feel of the song, the tempo of the song, and I want, very importantly, I want to hint at the melody of the song that the singer needs to start coming in at. Okay? So I don't want to just go. Singer doesn't know where to come in at. She doesn't know what tempo it is. None of that's working. And I may be so buried in my music that I'm not even thinking about helping her do what she needs to do. So I came up with this. I thought, well, let me play it. It's kind of a sensitive little thing, so I thought I'd play it up. But how can I get the melody in there? So the melody is this. Okay, so there's the melody. So I need to try and kind of sneak that melody in. Now you got to think, well, they didn't do that on the recording. Well, and when they're recording, they're in the studio. They've gone through this song a dozen times. She knows exactly what the melody is, but live, you don't have that luxury. You may be going from song to song to song, and she doesn't know where you're going to start. So I can't do that. I've got to hint at the melody. So I came up with this. Just kind of played the chords. Suddenly she knows exactly what pitch she needs to hit in, because I've just given her just her cue notes. And then I can go about and play my intro just like so nobody even really knows that I've given her the cue notes that she needs, because sometimes they'll just get it in their head wrong. Just that is enough to get her to where she knows where to jump in. And that's the idea. You as an accompanist need to get your head out of your music and give the singer what they need. So they need to know where to start. You are the magic carpet that they are riding on. And if you don't lay it out nice for them, the whole thing is going to crash and burn. And the singer's going to be the one that folks are going to think it's the singer's fault, but it's your fault. It's you. You're the problem. So I needed to help the singer out as much as I can. I can help her out by doing little walk-ups. Little walk-ups like that. Walk downs, help them know where they're at when you're coming around to different sections of the song. I can go high, I can go low, I can get intense, I can build up to the chorus, bring it back down for the verse. I can do all these things if I have my head in the game of what I'm doing. If I'm busy looking at my music, thinking about I'm just looking at trying to get my little part down, I'm going to miss it. Now, doing this for that song took me a couple of minutes to work out the night before we were supposed to do it. So it took some time. I couldn't just get up there and schlop up there and not be prepared. And thank goodness I was, because it would have crashed and burned. It's a tricky intro on a chord that's not the root of the key that we're in. So it is easy for a singer to get confused. My job is so important, and if I do it well, no one ever knows. When you hear a great accompanist, it is just, the singers love that. It just makes them feel so secure, because I'm a little bit giving them what they need, so they're not feeling empty and naked up there about where's the key, what's the tempo, stuff like that. In your intro, establish the key, the feel, the tempo, and hint at the first notes of the melody. It's a good idea for me to know, as the accompanist, know the notes of the melody, that the little riff that happens in the bridge, that all that sort of stuff. I write that down in my music so that I know that. I'm not just trying to guess at it. If the melody starts on a different chord other than the root, then be very careful to clearly establish the key so the singer knows the tonal center. I might even, before we even get to the intro, I might just kind of be hinting around back there. So now the tonal center has been clearly set. and then I'll go do my intro. That just gets them in the right headspace. As I'm transitioning between sections, lead them with walk-ups and walk-downs and intensity changes. Get out of your music, listen and watch the singer. They may want to take something around again. Know the song backwards and forwards. If I'm accompanying a song, especially if I'm the solo guitarist, man, I need to know the song so that I can get out of my music and be attentive to what's going on in the moment. She may want to take it faster or slower, or she may be moving the tempo a little bit. I need to be aware of all this stuff. My job is to make them feel secure. That's some wonderful thoughts on how to accompany a vocalist, something if you're playing guitar for any length of time, you're going to find yourself doing. It's a great skill to have. Before I play the last song, I wanted to remind you kind of the inner game of guitar. Consistency wins. Consistency wins. A little bit of practice, no matter how little, but if you're consistent with it, that's better than a big block of time on a Saturday afternoon when you're kind of half watching TV. If you can do 10, 15 minutes, 5 out of 7 days of the week, where you're focused, you're away from distractions, you're focused on that, that will get you further down the road. More progress will be made, significantly more progress will be being made in that to gaining skills than by dumping it in one long section at the end. Consistency. You know, it is just hard not to get better at something if you give it focused, consistent effort over a long period of time. A lot of folks, they just quit way too early. I can't get bar chords. Hey, bar chords. My bar chords sound like this. What's the difference between this and this? Hand strength. You'll notice my fingers didn't move a bit. It's just hand strength. How does that develop? Over time. It takes weeks, sometimes 2-3 months before you get the hand strength developed. Just keep working at it. Keep working at it. A lot of times we just quit on things too soon. When you were actually doing everything right, progress was coming, it's just the flower hadn't bloomed yet. Be consistent, and you'll see things pay off for that. Be consistent with how you practice. Be consistent with what you are learning. Don't switch from topic to topic and little thing here. You're never gonna learn it that way. Okay, if you're interested in joining us for the Hymns Guitar Gathering Academy, check that out. The link is in the YouTube description down below. If you're interested in being part of the Fingerstyle Retreat, check that out. The link is in the YouTube description down below. Some of our other training things, we had questions about speed and dexterity. How do you develop that? I did a fretboard workout on that. We did a fretboard workout on jazz chords as well. Lots of things. Take advantage of these resources. Learn these things. These are great skills to have as a working guitarist, as a guitarist that can move and respond in the situations that you need to. It was just, I think, 2 days ago, I think it was the January 31st, back in, I believe it was 1969, that the Beatles did their famous rooftop concert, lunch concert, off of the Apple Corp building in London. And so as I was kind of thinking about the Beatles, thinking about Valentine's Day is coming up here in about a week and a half, so make sure and get your sweetie something for that. So I thought I would try and think of a love song. So I thought of a love song with the Beatles, and it was "All You Need Is Love." It was written by John Lennon in 1967, and I didn't know this. It was originally written for a BBC broadcast. They wanted to do a broadcast on I forget what the topic was, but they wanted something clear and simple that folks would know clearly what the theme of the song is. And so John Lennon wrote "All You Need Is Love." And so this is a little bit of "All You Need Is Love." thanks for joining us on this wonderful lesson. Keep up the great work in your guitar learning. Don't let anything stop your music making. Hey, I'm Steve Krenz for Guitar Gathering. We'll see you next time.